So we're talking somebody that is a scientist, longtime cannabis advocate, grower, also had a background in toxicology, recommends this lab.
Yes, highly recommend this lab. And yeah, they could be good, accurate numbers. And they've been in food and drug testing for probably 60, 70 years. So they weren't just a lab that was set up for testing weed. Now these are good all-around chemists who can actually answer questions when you call up, particularly because I'm a chemist and I'm going to have questions that are technical.
Got it. So I know you take a lot of pride in your grows. You take a lot of pride. It's not just like you're not in the you're objectivist about how you go at it. You're not like, you just don't want to just like feel good about something and say this is the best grow ever. How do you measure that besides the toxicology?
The lab reports, the numbers, but I frequently do just ask customers what their opinion is. And the last customer, and I can pull it up on my telephone because it wasn't that long ago, said she wasn't happy with the last bag because it didn't look right. It didn't look right. I said, did you smoke it yet? And she said, no. I said, smoke it and call me back in an hour. And she wrote back, holy shit, it's a 9. Okay? And it's only because this last crop was a blend of our final outdoor grow combined with the indoor grow. And we used, against my better judgment, the outdoor grow, we had so much damn weed, we couldn't do it all by hand. And we did use an automated grower, or a dryer.
Got it.
Yeah, that over-dried things, and then when we went to destem it, it fell apart, and yeah, it didn't look real pretty.
But still, got the job done.
Well, I did most of the trimming of that stuff, and 20 minutes into trimming it, my hands were black. So I knew we had a superior product.
Yeah, for sure.
But people judge things on how they look and how they smell. And you know, those two things, they don't really tell you anything. The first thing I do when I get a bag of weed is I smell it. I know full well that means nothing. It's not telling me anything about it. And I don't care if your buds are big or small or if they've all crumbled up. I just want to put it in a pipe and take a hit. And then I'll decide what it is.
It's interesting because when you're tasting food, how it looks and how it smells goes in is more than how it tastes on your taste buds.
Well, yes, it is. It's the presentation. It's what I always say about when I called, like this last crop, I called it ugly. I said, man, this stuff's ugly. But it's fucking potent. And yes, a large part of this, that presentation, you go into one of those fancy restaurants, they have a red colored pepper and they have a little pile of this that's kind of teal and it's kind of colorful and it's like a little work of art. Now, here's the thing. I can eat 6 of those plates and still walk out of that place hungry. Okay? It looked real pretty, probably cost a lot of money. But in the end, if I had to order 6 of them to feel satisfied, did I really make out? I mean, was the presentation really that worth it?
For sure. Perception is so important. But as somebody that's more grounded in reality for your grows, I mean, presentation is the end all be all. How's it going? We're gonna go into more information. So tell me about your apprenticeship program and why you got into that and what strengths have come out of that.
Well, the apprenticeship program came about from a class I was teaching. And the class started off with maybe 7 or 8 students. I was giving them exams. I was actually teaching them the theory of everything. We were covering light. We were covering wavelength frequencies so they could identify wavelength and know what light source it was coming from. We're actually getting into a lot of the nitty-gritty details of growing and selecting lights and fertilizers and everything. And well, one by one, people were failing out. And I was eventually left with like 3 students, and I told them we're just going to discontinue the class because there just doesn't seem to be enough interest. And one of the students, who was a C student, by the way, wasn't the best student in the class. He stayed afterwards and he begged me to continue teaching him. And so Josh became my first apprentice. I thought, okay, well, rather than work with a group of people, we'll work with one person at a time. Because I've come up with, hang on a second, I have a hard time saying it. Because I've come up with a very novel growing technique that I guarantee you nobody else is using. If I explained it to them, they'd probably say I'm doing it wrong. And I don't care because it works, and it works all the time. And so Josh just started getting a lot more hands-on information. I continued with the lectures, I continued with the tests, and put him to work with some real hands-on stuff. And he was with me 4 years. After 2 years, we had the trimming team and everybody. We had a sheet cake, got a 2-year technical certificate. He stayed on another 2 years and got a technologist certificate. Are we accredited by anybody? No. However, funny story, my second apprentice, Elvira, very enthusiastic. Elvira was picking up on some of the basic chemistry, atomic theory she was picking up quickly. And one day I gave her a math test. I figured this kid graduated from San Diego Public School. At best, she can add, subtract, and maybe multiply and divide. No, I started writing out polynomials. She knew the quadratic equation. She understood functions. I said, this girl is like a trig and pre-calc class away from being able to actually take a college calculus class. She graduated from high school 10 years earlier. So she still retained all this stuff. And so Elvira was with me 2 years, but then I encouraged her to apply to college, and she did, to a junior college. And after 2 years, she graduated with a 3.2 grade point average, and she is now a biochemistry major at Western Washington University.
Beautiful.
And so, yeah. Now my third apprentice, Eddie, he worked out fine for a while. The workload was a little bit heavy on Eddie, so presently I'm without an apprentice. However, Josh now runs his own business. We built Liberty Farms for him to run. So he's got his own business, and Elvira's in college.
Nice. So you're looking to do that further on with other people? Or
Yes, yeah. I'd like to bring in another apprentice. I'm hunting right now.
Got it.